Hey guys, welcome to a Kagero Tips Trip, common misconceptions, and kind of some food for thought. Today we'll be talking about Kagero Set 2 English Boosters, and kind of where they fit into the whole format and good combos with them. First off, I want to start off with Embodiment of Armor Bar, and kind of where he fits into the whole thing. I find a lot of people talk about how he's kind of standard, you need 4 of him in every deck, blah blah blah, but you know, there are other cards that would be more worthwhile running a more consistent build than running just 4 bars. And you'll find that bars will not be utilized to its full potential unless you kind of cater your deck a little bit more to them. So let's talk about first Dragonmon Goku, fairly standard Vanguard, great ability, and so it's a 10k. 10k's being the average, 11k being kind of rare, and the extra 1k will help you out in situations, especially for defensive wise. But so let's get started. So 10k boosted with bar becomes 18. 18 is kind of a pointless number because what you're trying to hit is the 15-16 mark or the 20-21. Goku's never going to be able to hit the 20-21 mark. So you're hitting 15 to 16. Now you're going to be boosted to 18. That extra 2k is really not going to do you any favors. You'll find that it's not going to kind of make the difference. You're already forcing a 10k shield off of hitting an 11k. So 16 is kind of our mark right now. That's kind of the number we want to hit, and you'll find that Bottom of our bar, while does his job very well, boosts above and beyond what we need him to. And so we're going to talk about some other boosters that work very well with Goku and have extra abilities that could make your deck more consistent, and running more of them and saving the space from the bars will help your deck do well. And with a game like Vanguard, you want to be doing consistently every match. You're going to be doing best of 3 rounds, and you want your deck to have a clear goal, and you want it to do that every single time. So let's get started with some other grade 1 boosters. First off, Flame of Hope Emerald, great booster, 6k, boosts you up to the 16 you need, and when he's boosted, you get to discard a card out of your hand, draw a card. It's very wonderful, and it helps with consistency early game, and it helps you get into your Gokus or your other grade 3s that you want, just so you know you can ride each turn, which is really important. You want to be able to ride your grade 3 as soon as possible, because you want that twin drive. You want to start accelerating your deck. Next up, we have Dragon Mage Gojo. Gojo has a similar ability to Amuro. You get to rest him, discard a card out of your hand, draw a card. I find you'll probably only use Gojo maybe once or twice a game. And even if you only use him once, that's still 1 card closer to what you need. And, you know, I can't stress the importance of that. It sounds kind of lame, but, you know, he's a 7k booster, which we will talk about other combos he works very well with, and he does his job great as a booster. He boosts you to the 17k, again, over what you need, but he has an ability to boot. So a card like Bar, where it's just a standard, the 7k I find will help you out. Lastly, we have Dragon Mage Kimnara, or Demonic. Kimnara's ability, Counterblast 1, put this card in your soul, and retire your opponent's grade 1 rear guard. Now, first off, I want to state that it's grade 1, not grade 1 and below, so you can only hit grade 1s, so Barcoal is kind of safe, which is kind of iffy. But what that helps you do, it helps you disrupt your opponent. You're getting rid of their boosters, you're getting rid of their abilities, you're kind of disrupting their field, and Goku decks, in particular, are going to be disrupting your opponent quite a lot. You want to kind of shake them up, you want to force them to take cards out of their hand just to keep up with your relentless offense. So, let's talk again about Embodiment of Armor Bar. 8k. What he does very well is he boosts himself. So if you have 2 Embodiment of Armor Bar, you're going to be doing 16, which is our target number. But that requires 2 grade 1s. Consistently, you will not have these in your hand. What he does do well, though, is boost cards like Dragonite Berger. Dragonite Berger does very well with Bar. He hits that 16 mark, and he has an amazing ability to boot. Other cards that work well with him, Wyvern Strike Tejas, who gets to attack your opponent's back row in the same lane that he's in, and again, gives you access to hitting their rear guards and forcing them to drop more if they want to boost. I'm not a huge Tejas fan. That's just personal preference. I'm going to start testing with him a little bit more. I'll let you know what I think. Berger, again, 10k Interceptor. The fact that he does get boosted to 16 makes him incredibly offensive, not to mention you can burn him for a shield and you're saving cards out of your hand. Kind of throws off your opponent, and he'll probably focus down your Berger with abilities. Next, let's get into some grade 2s. First off, we have Berserk Dragon. Berserk Dragon is incredible. 9k, Counterblast 2, retire when placed on Vanguard or Rearguard. If you have a Kagero Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose a opposed grade 2 or less Rearguard and retire it. It's incredible. That's awesome. You will, like, it gives you the ability to burn out the Bergers, to burn out 10k grade 2s, or to just burn out Rearguards in the back row that are really disrupting you or giving you trouble or boosting your opponent. Again, you want your opponent to constantly have to keep up with the field. You'll find that with burn lists, you're going to have constant field advantage, and that's very important. You want them to entirely be on an uphill battle to try to keep up with you. Now, I've been seeing a lot of builds with 4 Nalhim, 2 Berserk Dragon. And something that I've been working with is reversing the roles. Now, while the extra 1k is very nice, it kind of helps you a little bit defensively. I find that Berserk Dragon's abilities and his toolbox helps you with the consistency. You know, I find that if you only run 2, you're not going to want to play him down because you want to save till you have Counterblast 2, or you want to save whatever. Or you're not going to want to discard him or anything. But if you're running 4, you can safely play 1 down, and know you're probably going to draw into at least 1 more during that game. Or you can safely discard him, or even just use him as a shield, given if you need the circumstances. Now, while it's easier to hit the 16k mark with Nalhim, it's very easy to hit the 16 using cards like Bar, who boosts him to 17, or even Gojo, who with a 7k boosts him to 16, and it allows you to hit those 11k Vanguards, or Rearguards. So, if you're running consistent lines of these, or even just this, you'll find that Berserk Dragon will probably fare you much better than 4 Nalhim. I'm not saying don't run Nalhim. It's a great card and goes very well with your other boosters. But I'm just saying it's not worth running 2 and 4. Maybe a 3-3, maybe a 4-2. Just try it out, test it, and leave some comments if you find one works better than the other. But next we're going to go on to our grade 3s. Now, while all these grade 3s work very well with our Gojo, Amuro, and Kimnara, let's talk about which ones do well with Bar, and which ones don't. First off, ones that don't really need Bar at all. We have Goku, who you just want to hit the 16k, so he works with those other 3. Dragonic Overlord works with 16k, even works with 5k, so you can even use some of your triggers, potentially. A lot of the stand triggers have 5k, and you can even hit the 16 using a trigger, so that's actually kind of funny. And lastly, for the ones that don't do well, is Seal Dragon Blockade. Blockade, again, 10k, will work just fine with Amuro, Gojo, and Kimnara. And so running more consistent lines, if these are your grade 3s in your deck, I would say Bar is not a necessity. You could potentially run 2, maybe 3 if you really like him early game, but I find that if you're running more consistent lines of those other 3 I mentioned, that your games will fare much better and your deck will run more consistently, and that's really important. And then lastly, we have a couple grade 3s that work very well. We have Blazing Flare Dragon. I don't have the card, sorry. Which can easily be boosted to 21, forcing multiple shields out of your opponent's hand, which is incredible. Next set, we will be getting Dual Axe Dragon Archfiend, who, with his ability in Goku lists, I would probably consider dropping Draconic Overlord for a Dual Axe, because if your opponent has 2 or less rear guards, he is boosted to a 13k, which allows him to hit the 21 mark, which allows him to hit 2100 Vanguards and force at least 2 10k shields out of their hand. And burning those shields is absolutely incredible. And with all the burn potential that Dragon Ball Goku decks run, you can, I don't want to say easily, but you very much have the potential to burn them down to 2 rearguards. Lastly, two more cards that Bar works very well in, and usually are run in the same deck. You have Vortex Dragon. Vortex Dragon, he's an okay card. I'm not a huge fan of him, but I do like the ability. You get to Soul Charge 1, he gets plus 2k, and so you can easily boost to the 20 mark, which allows you to force two 10k shields off of 10k Vanguards. 10k Vanguards are very common. You find usually, unless you're running against something like Nova Grapplers, where they have a lot of 11Ks, and that's why I've been talking about the 16 mark and how important that is. But anyways, 20k, forces at least two shields, works wonderfully. But a lot of people are talking about his second ability, and I find you probably won't have a chance to even use that. And lastly, a card that obviously necessarily needs it is Embodiment Victory Elf, in which case, if you're not running 4 bars, I don't think you should be running the deck at all. So, just trying to give you guys some food for thought. I do want to say these are all just my opinions, and, test it, play it, tell me what you think. If you think I'm just plain wrong, feel free to tell me, and we can potentially have a friendly debate, and I may be swayed, you may be swayed, and that's the thing, is I'm creating this channel just to kind of, not debate with people or argue at all, but just to kind of, spread ideas and help to improve myself and with other players, and talking with players around the country, world, wherever, it always is a great help. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Playtest some, let me know what you think of everything, and number one rule is just have fun, guys. So I'll see you next time.